He simply waited every day, not even moving when the train arrived or barking at strangers passing by. Dot was waiting for a man who would never come back at the same place. They called him mad and loyal, but the fact was far stronger than either Dot. It was a terrible winter, and this is the tale of a dog's promise that outlived everything. Professor Haruto Watanabe was in Japan in the morning, adjusting the collar of his coat and holding his leather briefcase close to. He was a man of routine, respected in his field of linguistics, quiet in manner, and always exactly on time. But that day something broke the rhythm as he approached the train. His chest snow fell gently, dusting the narrow streets as he made his way toward the station. The sky was gray, the air was filled with silence, and his breath left small clouds as he walked out station. He heard a whimper and a quiet, broken sound. He stopped and looked over the edge of the platform stays. The dog was trembling, his fur matted with snow and blood. One of his hind legs was twisted unnaturally, and a cut near his ribs was seeping slowly. But despite his condition, the dog's eyes met Haruto's, not pleading, not wild, but calm, almost accepting. His breath caught in his throat. He could have turned away, though, because he had a lecture at 9 o'clock and papers to finish. And there, huddled beside a crate and half buried beneath a torn sack, lay a dog. He dropped to his knees, unraveling his scarf and carefully covering the dog's head while the review students waited. Body trembling, and spoke gently in Japanese, "You're safe now." Taxis refused to take a bleeding dog, and Haruto walked 2 kilometers in the snow with the animal wrapped in his arms. He looked down every few steps to make sure he was still breathing, and the vet was shocked that you brought him from SHG station in this weather. Haruto just nodded, saying he's in bad shape. Something might kill that limb, and is not getting enough food. Are you certain you wish to keep him? That night, Haruto slept next to the dog on his home's floor with a thin blanket covering them both. The heater was humming softly, and the dog didn't whimper. Instead, he just lay there breathing slowly and shallowly. By morning, his tail was waving, and Haruto grinned. "We'll call you Finn." He wasn't sure why the name came to him. Perhaps it was from an old book, perhaps it was because it seemed kind, perhaps as a result of the fact that this dog, despite his injuries, appeared to be at the end of something awful in there. Haruto nursed Finn back to health in the weeks that followed, marking the start of something better. The professor, who was previously renowned for his on-time lectures and rigorous academic order, now rearranged his schedule to accommodate veterinary visits and medication schedules. His students noticed that his colleagues whispered, "You adopted a stray." One Haruto just nodded when asked over tea. He didn't seek assistance but accepted it. Finn's recuperation was gradual. His leg healed. Despite his slight limp, he gained weight, and his coat became sleek, but what really astounded Haruto were Finn's eyes. They were perceptive and almost human, and he never barked needlessly, begged, or destroyed anything. He just followed Haruto to the station, the market, and the university gate. What was most amazing, though, was their daily routine. Every morning at 7:10, Haruto left for the station, and every morning Finn strolled on the platform next to him without a leash. As Haruto got on the 7:30 train, Finn would wait near the green bench. He would watch the train leave and then head back home. But in the evening, Haruto's train would always arrive 5 minutes early at 4:45 p.m. When the train arrived, Finn's ears perked up, his eyes scanned the crowd, and the moment he saw his professor, his tail wagged. He trotted up, received a gentle pat, and they walked. Finn was already there, sitting patiently. This happened every day, rain or shine. The station staff grew accustomed to it and greeted him with snacks, head pats, and kind words. Finn is more punctual than most passengers, but to Finn, none of them mattered together. They had a rhythm and a tie that was etched in silent loyalty rather than orders or tricks. As the years went by, Haruto developed. Finn grew older as well, but their routine remained constant until one spring afternoon when the days changed into seasons and Haruto and Finn's bond became more than just a friendship. It became sacred. The town realized that the man and the dog were constantly strolling side by side, and the stores along the professor's path would nod and leave out water bowls for Finn. Respectfully, as they passed, students often waited at the train simply to see them walk by. Something about their quiet, People were moved by togetherness. The man of logic and order, Haruto, started writing in a diary about instances when Finn barked at a hawk. This is only the second time I've heard him speak, and one of the entries said, he waited 5 full minutes after the train before he accepted I wasn't on it. Due to a postponed meeting, Haruto missed his regular return train one autumn evening. When he eventually arrived at 6 p.m., he anticipated walking home by himself. However, Finn was shivering a little from the cold tail that was gently wagging when he saw Haruto that day. The professor began to cry after that. Haruto kept dog biscuits in his pocket in case he was late. Finn never needed a leash, he never fled, and he never strayed, not even when a cat darted across the street or another dog barked. As the months turned into years, their routine became legendary in the town, and children would wave to Finn when tourists inquired about the waiting dog. From the windows of the classroom, his story seems to have been written for a very long time before anyone knew they were reading it. Took place on a Monday. Just minutes before his presentation, Haruto collapsed with a swift and final cerebral hemorrhage, and by the time paramedics arrived, he had already left. Haruto had prepared his speech the night before, made tea as usual, and kissed Finn gently on the head before leaving. "Stay, Finn. I'll be back for the 4:45, was the last thing he ever said in the lecture hall. Students sobbed at the university's burial service, and white flowers were placed throughout his office. But in the midst of all the grief, 1. When the 445 train arrived that evening, Finn waited. The doors opened, people poured out, but Haruto wasn't among them. Finn stood, sniffed the air, took a few steps forward, then sat back down and waited. The first night that Finn didn't go home, he curled up beneath the green bench where Haruto used to sit. Station staff tried to persuade him to leave, but he refused, and the following morning he was still there. A clerk brought him water, and a student left a sandwich at the station. Every day at 4:45, Finn would get excited when the train arrived, even after the master requested a soft mat to be placed next to the bench. The village watched in silence as word spread and local news took up the story. He would observe each face step forward and occasionally sit back down. He didn't bark or weep. Vendors brought him food, and some people lingered to sit next to the devoted dog, who waits for the late professor. However, Finn wasn't there for attention. He was there for Haruto. Days stretched into weeks, and months. Seasons have gone by. But still, after waiting for the snow to return, Finn's fur thickened, but his arthritis-related limping became more noticeable. In the second year, the railway company constructed him a wooden shelter with his name carved in kanji. Tourists from all over Japan came to see the dog who waited. Some wept, some prayed, but Finn stayed the same every evening as he watched that train. And when no one got off, go back to his place under the bench, residents speculated that he might think his master missed the train and that the next one will be the right one. And as a result, hope lived again. He became thinner and his walks became shorter, but he never missed a day. By the 5th year, Finn had gained national recognition. A documentary was made about him, children wrote to him, donations arrived in the town to help with his care, and he had his own caretaker, a retired teacher who had previously studied under Haruto. She said, "I owe it to my sensei, this dog was his heart." As a nod to Haruto, Finn now donned a crimson scarf in the winter, wrapped around him the day they first met. And Finn remained the same despite the attention, gifts, and celebrity. At 4:45 p.m., he stood up, turned to face the platform, waited, and then sat down once more. During his 9th winter, Finn made a silent vow to keep every day, and he stopped moving beyond the station. He now slept for nearly the whole day, yet every evening he got up slowly and hobbled to the green bench like muscle memory. When the train arrived one evening, the door opened, passengers stepped off, Finn didn't move. His eyes blinked slowly, and then he closed them. That year, the snow was heavier, the wind was colder, and his caretaker wrapped him in 2 blankets. Volunteers offered to take him in, but he refused to leave the station. Calmly resting next to the bench with the same promise to the town, facing the same track, and beneath the same sky. A week later, plans for a bronze statue were approved, and it was placed at platform 2 with a perfect likeness of Finn sitting, ears alert, eyes watching, and a plaque that read, He waited not because he was told, but because he believed. Hundreds of people attended the funeral. Trains were stopped for an hour, and people brought flowers, notes, and framed photos of Haruto and Finn walking side by side. Years later, the station was renamed Finn Station. Tourists took pictures and made wishes next to the statue, and kids grew up hearing the story. But most importantly, the train continues to arrive at the station every evening at precisely 4:45 p.m., and occasionally someone looks toward the bench, expecting to find a pale dog sitting there, watching and waiting as he always did.